A few years ago, the idea of an open world game was rare.
I was confused why they put a story. I just chilling.
No, I was like, what is the story? The mission in GTA, what does that?
Like back then it was mad.
I swear, I saw you get cheat code sheets and shit before.
I used to write them down on a notebook, dude.
Yeah, my cousin would note them down.
Oh yeah,
And
I
he-
remember
he tell
writing
us-
them in like notebooks too.
Use cheat codes, fly the plane, get a 5-star police thing, and then keep
Yeah, dude.
find the spotters. Yeah, that's what GTA was about for me.
Big deal because there was nothing like that.
When I was younger, most video games were either a point and shoot or one of those racing games where you could kick people off their bike or whatever. I remember playing Counter-Strike back then too, but it wasn't exactly the Go that you're used to. It was goddamn 1.6. Anyone ever played Counter-Strike 1.6 here? Exactly, the game is bullshit. Anyways, back in the 2000s when everyone was playing Road Rash or House of the Dead or God forbid Angry Birds on those brand new touchscreen phones, I discovered GTA Vice City. I think the oldest memory of the game that I have is probably from 2007 when I saw the disc of the game lying on the desk of my neighbor. I don't know why I remember that, I just do. Fast forward a few years to 2010 and we find me sitting next to this guy I've recently become friends with, and we are at his house playing GTA Vice City on his desktop. Well, it's more like he's playing and I'm watching. You see, I'm just a lowly first grader and therefore I don't get to play this game that is rated for mature adults due to the content related to graphic violence, drugs, sexual themes and more violence. But he, a whole third grader, does. It makes sense, trust me. GTA Vice City is one of the best games to experience for the first time. Obviously, the game stands nowhere in comparison to most games that have come out today. Or maybe it does, yeah, we don't talk about that. But back then, when I hadn't played an open world game before, Vice City was one of the best games to come into existence. You could do the missions and there were a set of objectives you had to meet, but let's be honest, no one really cared for those. To me, the game was an infinite world of infinite possibility. I could sprint wherever, shoot whatever, punch whoever, steal whatever, and just walk the streets by myself doing God knows what. You tell me that's not the most interesting concept for a game already. Let's back up to my friend's house after school with me pulling a chair and sitting next to him as he booted up the old Windows XP desktop with an entire gigabyte of RAM to kill civilians or blow up cars, just like most third graders do. Sometimes he'd let me drive around in a car or something if his mom called him, but for the most part, I just watched. Eventually, however, I got to play the game on my own. I'm guessing someone from my school gave it to me in my 8GB SanDisk pen drive, chock full of spyware and viruses, but here I was, playing the game by myself. I don't think I've ever sat through the opening monologue of the game where Sonny discusses with his gang members about whatever. I just started the game and then spammed the spacebar until the game started.
Stop by your office tomorrow and we can start sorting this mess out.
There's a lot you can do in GTA Vice City. The missions for starters, right? What a nerd doing missions in a GTA game. You probably hit eject before you pull out a pen drive from your laptop, don't you? Don't you? What a loser thing to do. Missions in a GTA game. Point and laugh, everyone. Point and laugh. Other than the main mission of the game, there are also these sub-missions that you can do, like this ambulance mission, or that crazy taxi driver Vice City edition mission, or the American Police Simulator mission, or this bike mission that infuriated me to degrees beyond understanding, or those random vehicles across the map that you innocently entered until you realize that's a mission too. You could do any of those things if you had the attention span. I'd just rather kill civilians on the street for hours on end and then spawn a tank to blow up some cars. I mean, it's fun. Driving around in a car until it catches fire, then stealing another one and accidentally killing a cop, getting a 2-star wanted level, trying to kill the guy that owns ammunition with his own weapon, then finding out he has a gun too, constantly spawning at the hospital because you fell into the water too many times. It's all the standard Vice City experience. For a 2002 game, GTA Vice City gives you something most games can't even give you today: an experience. One reason for that is because there was no internet back then. I know I sound like a boomer when I say this, but you couldn't just Google the cheats for the game or watch some 30-year-old no life play the game with a little face cam in the corner before you played it yourself, or one of those tutorials for finishing missions. You didn't have access through those. You had to discover the game on your own, find the little hidden packages and the rare cars and the little trick to go to the other island using the cheat by yourself. It's not a run of the mill do these missions and then wait for the next version to release game. It's not even close. To me, GTA Vice City is an experience. Whether you're the guy that goes to the roof of the mall and snipes people's head off to watch the blood fountain, or the kind that drives around obeying all the traffic laws, you found a place for yourself in this game. For a game aimed at adults, this game sure made up an aspect of most people's childhood because Vice City gave you the independence that real life never could. I think the reason Vice City was so much more than a game to me then, and even now still is because of the people that I associate the game with. It was about the guy in my school lying to me about where I could find the secret entrance to San Andreas from Vice City, drawing a map on the paper and giving it to me, and me going home and trying to make sense of the stupid lines on paper. Screw you, Monish, you fraud. It was about that one time my friend's mom took us both to the cyber cafe for an hour because she had some work to do, and we just ran around near the mall for hours. Moments like when my mom would just throw us out of the house because we'd been on the computer for so long and we'd just go down and talk about the game instead. It's these experiences that make up the whole experience of the game. To me, it's not just a game, it's the people that made the experience all that it was. I say this like Vice City is irrelevant now, and while that may be true, because, have you seen the views my videos get? The game has not aged a day, at least not to me. On this laptop that I'm using, I downloaded the game a couple of months ago and obviously nothing has changed. I was touching this game for maybe the first time in at least 7 or 8 years, and the first thing I did when I launched it was enter Nutter Tools and start killing passers-by, just like I always did. I played the game until 3 in the morning that day and doing nothing, just driving around and looking at places. Then, a few months ago, my friends and I played the game together. Like me, they also mostly just watched some other friend play it, and so we all sat down and finished the entire campaign in 2 days. No cheats, just us playing for a good 10-ish hours. The fact that people are invested in a game this old today is proof of how perfect of a game Vice City is. With those terrible graphics and those weird glitches and crashes and bugs and God knows what else, GTA Vice City is the most perfect a game has ever been. It's been a good few years since I've been in contact with any of the people I originally used to speak about Vice City to. I've moved cities from there multiple times now, and those people that I once was best friends with probably don't even remember me. Everything's most definitely changed. There's just something so comforting about the fact that Hotel Ocean View is right where it always was, that Tommy Vercetti still wants to take over the city and get his money back. Change is good and all, but sometimes it's the things that don't change that keep you going. Hey, Rockstar Games, I know you're probably not watching this, but thanks for making GTA Vice City. Thanks for the 80s aesthetic and the open world and all those little details you put into the game nearly 20 years ago now. I know I never once paid for this game, and I don't think I ever will because uTorrent is a lifesaver. But I just want you to know, this game has raised not just me but thousands of children across the world, and it really wouldn't have been the same without you. Genuinely, thanks a lot. That being said, I'm pretty sure GTA 6 is going to be set in Vice City, and if you dare to touch a single part of the city and modify it to your liking, my lawyers will be in contact.